I watched my nephew poison my drink at my retirement party, so I switched our cups. What happened next shocked everyone in that room. Before we dive in, if you're enjoying this story, please hit that like button, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications because we post incredible stories like this every single day. My name is Linda Patterson, and after 40 years of teaching, I thought my retirement party would be the happiest night of my life. I was wrong. It became the night I discovered who my nephew Tyler really was. The banquet hall glowed with soft lights and laughter. 72 people came to celebrate with me, former students, colleagues, friends. I stood near the refreshment table in my best navy dress, the silver necklace my mother gave me 40 years ago catching the light. "Aunt Linda, you look amazing," Tyler said, walking over with that charming smile I'd known since he was 13. That's when he came to live with me after my brother Stephen died in a workplace accident. I raised Tyler as my own, never married, never had children. He became my whole world. Now at 38, he was successful, confident, wearing an expensive suit and that $6,000 watch I'd bought him for his college graduation. His wife Ashley stood nearby, beautiful in her blue cocktail dress. "Thank you for organizing all this, Tyler," I said warmly. "You deserve it, Aunt Linda. After everything you did for me, for everyone." His voice was smooth, practiced. As we moved to our assigned seats for dinner, Tyler held my chair. "I got your favorite drink," he said, pointing to the glass of cranberry juice beside my plate. "The special bottle you've been saving." I was touched. That juice had been a gift from a grateful parent 15 years ago. I'd been saving it for something special, and Tyler remembered. But as I reached for my napkin, something caught my attention. Tyler was fidgeting, his fingers drumming nervously on the table. When he thought no one was looking, he reached into his jacket pocket. 40 years of watching students taught me to notice everything. And what I saw made my blood run cold. Tyler pulled out something small and white, glanced around quickly, then dropped it into my cranberry juice. It dissolved instantly, the liquid fizzing slightly before going still. Time seemed to stop. The nephew I raised, the boy I loved like a son, had just poisoned my drink. My mind raced. This wasn't an accident. The furtive glances, the quick movements, the timing. This was planned. I had maybe 30 seconds before he'd expect me to drink it. My hand moved to my silverware, and as naturally as breathing, I accidentally knocked my spoon onto the floor. "Oh, how clumsy of me," I said, bending down. Under the table, hidden from view, I switched our juice glasses. His poison was now in front of him. My clean drink sat at my place. When I sat back up, Tyler was smiling at me, completely unaware of what I'd done. "Should we make a toast?" he suggested, standing up. His voice carried across our section of the room. "To Aunt Linda, the woman who sacrificed everything for me. The woman who taught me that every action has consequences." The irony of his words wasn't lost on me. He was about to learn exactly what he'd just said. "To family," Tyler continued, his eyes meeting mine. "To the people who shape us, guide us, and love us unconditionally." Everyone raised their glasses. Tyler lifted his, the poisoned one, and drank deeply. "Excellent choice," he said, setting the glass down. "This juice really is special." "Yes," I replied quietly, taking the smallest sip from my clean glass. "It really is." Dinner was served, but I couldn't taste anything. My eyes stayed on Tyler, watching for signs. First, nothing happened. He laughed, told stories, played the perfect nephew. But after about 10 minutes, I noticed changes. His words became slightly slurred. His hand shook when he reached for his water. "Are you okay, honey?" Ashley asked, concerned. "Fine, fine," Tyler said, but his voice was weaker now. "Just excited about the party." Mrs. Anderson, my 82-year-old teaching colleague, leaned forward with sharp eyes. "Young man, you don't look well." Tyler's face had gone pale, sweat beading on his forehead. "I think I need some air." He stood, stumbled slightly, and walked toward the exit, one hand on the wall for balance. He was gone for 10 minutes. When he returned, the transformation was shocking. His perfect hair was disheveled, his expensive tie loose, his face gray. He looked 20 years older. "Tyler, what's wrong?" Ashley jumped up, alarmed. "I'm okay," he mumbled, but his hands were shaking violently now. As he sat down, he reached for his water glass and missed completely. It shattered against his plate, glass scattering across the white tablecloth. The sound silenced our entire section. "We should call for help," Emma, my former student who became a nurse, said urgently. No, Tyler protested, but his eyes met mine across the table. And in that moment he understood. He knew I'd switched the cups. He knew he was experiencing exactly what he'd planned for me. "Aunt Linda," he whispered, desperation in his voice. "I need to talk to you. Alone." Mrs. Anderson's sharp eyes moved from Tyler to me, then back. Her expression hardened with understanding. Tyler tried to stand again, but his legs gave out. He grabbed the table, his knuckles white. "Something's really wrong," Ashley said, her voice rising with panic. Mrs. Anderson stood, her authoritative teacher voice cutting through the chaos. "Young man, I suggest you tell us right now what substance you put in your body, because your condition is deteriorating rapidly." The directness broke him. "I didn't mean for this to happen," Tyler said, his voice cracking. "It was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to affect me." Shocked silence fell over our table. "What wasn't supposed to affect you?" Ashley asked, barely above a whisper. Tyler looked at all the faces staring at him, people who'd known him for years. The weight of their attention crushed him. "The juice," he finally admitted, the words rushing out. "I put something in Aunt Linda's juice, but she switched the cups when she dropped her spoon. I drank it instead." The collective gasp was audible even across the noisy room. Ashley's hand flew to her mouth, her face draining of color. Emma sat back as if struck. Mrs. Anderson's expression hardened into stern disappointment. "You did what?" Ashley's voice was high, strained, unrecognizable. Before Tyler could answer, his breathing became rapid and shallow. His hands shook uncontrollably, his eyes losing focus. "Call 911, Mrs. Anderson commanded. "Now." The ambulance arrived within 6 minutes. As paramedics worked on Tyler, I answered their questions with calm detachment, even as my heart shattered into pieces. At the hospital, Officer Peterson took my statement. "Mrs. Patterson, you say you accidentally switched cups?" I met her eyes steadily. I dropped my spoon and bent down to retrieve it. When I sat back up, the cups had been moved. Whether it was intentional or accidental is difficult to say. She studied me for a long moment. A man who tampers with someone else's drink is responsible for the consequences, regardless of who ultimately consumes the substance. "I understand," I replied. Tyler survived. The hospital tests revealed he'd used a substance meant to cause disorientation and mild unconsciousness, something a client had given him instead of payment. He'd miscalculated the dosage, thinking my age would make me more vulnerable. What he didn't know was that I had no such vulnerability, and his own body bore the full brunt of his mistake. In his hospital room, with Ashley standing by the door looking devastated, Tyler finally told me the truth. "My business is failing, Aunt Linda. I'm $180,000 in debt." I thought, if you had some kind of medical episode, maybe a small stroke, you'd change your will. Give me early access to my inheritance. The cold calculation stole my breath. He hadn't just wanted to harm me. He'd planned to use my medical crisis as leverage. "Tyler," I said quietly, "I raised you to be better than this." "I know," he whispered, tears streaming down his face. I was desperate. I was scared. But that doesn't excuse what I did. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison for assault with a dangerous substance. His business collapsed. Ashley filed for divorce. And me. I sold my house, moved to a quiet mountain town 3 hours away, and bought a small cottage with a garden. I volunteer at the library, teach adult literacy classes twice a week, and I've never felt more at peace. I received one letter from Tyler during his incarceration. 5 pages of apologies and requests for forgiveness. I read it twice, then put it away without responding. Some bridges, once burned, cannot be rebuilt. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming, not even me. 6 months after Tyler's release, I received a call from William Cooper, the accountant who'd helped me discover Tyler's earlier attempts to steal from me. "Mrs. Patterson, I thought you should know something. When Tyler was planning all this, he wasn't working alone." My heart stopped. "What do you mean?" Ashley knew everything. In fact, she was the one who suggested the plan. They'd been plotting for over a year. The debt was real, but it was from Ashley's gambling addiction, not business failures. Tyler was trying to protect her. I sat down heavily, processing this revelation. "There's more," William continued. "After Tyler went to prison, Ashley tried to access your accounts using forged documents. We caught her before any damage was done, but she's now facing charges of her own. The boy I raised hadn't become a monster on his own. He'd been manipulated by someone he loved, someone who saw me not as family but as a resource to exploit. It didn't excuse his choices, but it explained them. Today I'm 73 years old. I have a peaceful life, good friends, and a clear conscience. I learned that justice doesn't always look the way we expect. Sometimes it's loud and dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet and personal. And sometimes it's served in a switched cup at a retirement party. The nephew I raised made his choice. He lived with the consequences. And I chose to build a new life. One where I'm defined not by who betrayed me, but by who I became after surviving that betrayal. If this story moved you, please give us a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We post powerful stories like this every single day. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, sometimes the best revenge is simply letting people face the consequences of their own actions.